My name is Emmanuel Rugamba. I am a current professional athlete, as well as an entrepreneur, as well as a founder. I fell in love with the game of football. My mother signed me up when I was 9 years old. Ultimately, went on to be the first Rwandan to ever sign an NFL contract. Before there's any reps, before there's any push-ups, before there's any kind of anything, you got to find the community in which that the sport that you're interested in is functioning, because through that community you're going to build relationships that are going to both give you opportunity in sport, but at the same time carry you later on through life.
Emmanuel, thank you very much. Nice to meet you. I just want you to introduce yourself for anyone who'll be watching this small video or reading about you, who you are and where you are, just before we start our conversation.
Well, for anybody who doesn't know, and I'm sure a lot of people don't know because I don't do too much out there, but my name is Emmanuel Rugamba. I am a current professional athlete, as well as an entrepreneur, as well as a founder. Um, I have very not real conventional beginnings. My journey started out post the Rwandan genocide, um, as my family immigrated to the United States back when I was 2 years old. And in the process of that, I was born in a refugee camp in Zambia. And since coming to the States, I was fortunate enough to have the family that I had. I had a huge family. My mother raised 10 of us on her own, and I was the youngest at that 10. And through that love, and through that love she had for us, the first thing she wanted to do was figure out how to get her kids' schedules filled, right? And that's where I fell in love with the game of football. And my mother signed me up when I was 9 years old, and I fell in love with it ever since. And I played every single every single year after that. And since then, I've been fortunate enough to go off and live my dreams as playing not only professional football but as well as Division 1 football and just playing football at the highest level. And through doing that, I was fortunate enough to have experience at the University of Iowa, had success there. Had experience at Miami of Ohio University, had great success there, and ultimately went on to be the first Rwandan to ever sign an NFL contract. And for me, that is when my life ultimately changed.
Mm.
A lot of people reached out to me from all over the globe, speaking about the influence that I had in their life, the resilience that I was showing through the same kind of beginnings that we had. Because as Rwandans, and not just Rwandans, but all people who have been displaced or who are, you know, eager to find some kind of home, the last thing that you're thinking about really is becoming the first person from your country to ever play in the NFL.
Mm.
And once that happened, I continued to go play. Went on to go play into the Canadian Football League and the CFL. Have loved it every second of it. Had success there. Won a won a West Division All Star. Got nominated for Rookie of the Year. Made countless plays, and just the biggest thing about that experience and all of that was the impact.
Mm.
Through the CFL, I was fortunate enough to speak at 100, 110, 120 plus schools, excuse me,
Mm.
about different topics. And through the CFL program, the BC Lions program, talking about different topics, whether it be about equality, inclusion, community building, and even having some kind of resilience when you're talking about doing the right thing.
Mm.
And I never wanted my impact to stop on the football field whatsoever. And the last 2 years, 2.5 years, I've been curating organizations and structures to aid in exactly that. And that's what we're here talking about today. And that's what I'm so excited to talk about. Um,
Wonderful. Yeah.
so, one of those initiatives is sorry, not to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go through those, but that's pretty much exciting to have this conversation. And I wanna go back to the beginning, just to bring your story in a real sense. You said refugee camp, you said Zambia, you said moving to the US. So how does that experience, which is not a good one from the beginning, how did it influence you upbringing in your career and where you are now?
It meant everything to me. Um, it was something that allowed me to have gratitude every day, whether it was hanging out with friends, whether it was simply playing football, whether I had the worst day I could possibly have. I would always think to myself, like, every single day I have here is a profit. I have people who are not even an arm's reach or one family member call away that at some point, weren't fortunate enough as I was.
Mm,
And that alone is something that fuels me, and not only fuels me, but lifts me on a daily basis. And it allows you to be appreciative of all of your opportunities. And that's one thing that I've been trying to do is just maximize them all, because just even and I never try to think of it
mm,
in a negative sense.
mm,
I always think of it as God does things for a reason.
mm,
Everything happens for a reason.
mm,
And I knew that for whatever reason, you know, my walk of life brought me to where it brought me, and to be fortunate every single day. And through that gratitude and through being fortunate, I've been able to maximize opportunities. And I
mm,
would honestly say it's shaped me fully as far as identity, as far as perseverance, as far as a football player, as far as an entrepreneur, as far as a friend, as far as a brother. It shapes me in every characteristic, if there is, about who Emmanuel Rugamba is.
mm. Does it knock you down often when you think about it?
The only time it would knock me down when I think about it is if I'm not producing or taking advantage of the blessings that I have. That is where my struggle comes in. Is where I feel if I'm not doing with the opportunity that I have, that is when that's when the negative side of it starts to come, because I see it as a blessing every day just to be around. But when I do look back on it and the tragedy of it, I feel like not just myself, but all people should, you know,
Mm,
create a better world in whatever they do. And through my experiences, um, that's one of the things that drives me as far as trying to create a better world. And when I'm not moving towards that,
mm.
it's the only time where I could have a negative thought about it.
Wow. Yeah, I often say it's not a good thing to survive twice, but it's not a taboo. So,
I'm gonna write that down. Yeah. It's not a good thing to survive twice.
yeah.
That's that's one of my that's one of
Mm,
with my resilience tour, my keynote programs that I just recently launched. One of the keynotes that I speak about is not just surviving but thriving, and
Private.
like it goes hand in hand. It's not a good thing to survive twice. If you don't mind me, I'm going to quote you on
You
that.
do that. I'll be happy to be quoted. So you mentioned your mom raising you, and when I read on in the publications online, it says like you were 10 kids to be raised by mom. How can you try to tell us more about that big family, big needs, big demand, a single mom, one mom? So how did you manage to make it through with that number?
It was it's family. Like I never really I never had to outsource for friends.
Mm.
I always had every kind of any kind of personality you can think of was in that house.
Mm.
So I think our family unit and uh, my mother just instilling that in us, as far as like if your brother needs the shirt off his back, off your back, you give it to them, and vice versa. And she just did a great job of keeping us all united, and never really like in fear, because her being a leader that she was, as I look back on it now, being an entrepreneur, being a CEO, being an athlete, the leadership that she had to not flinch.
Mhm.
That's one of the biggest things. I know I've been quoted speaking about how I lean on my mother. It's like her perseverance and her resilience is where mine starts.
Mhm.
And it's like, just I get like warm speaking about her, because to
Mhm.
me, everybody's come up to me, oh Emmanuel, you've done X, Y, and Z, you've done this, you've done that, and I'm like, man, you should have seen what my mother did. So it's like she just instilled family in us and allowed us to be the support for each other,
Mhm.
and she did a great job of it. Um, she's All her kids are healthy. Uh, it's been it's been a blessing, honestly, for us to be where we are, 25, 30 years later.
Yeah, I was raised in a family of nine, so I remember those moments when there is lunch or there is no lunch, and then you see everyone coming together, running faster, so that you don't miss your portion. You know, do you?
Yeah, people don't realize it's like, I those are certain things you don't realize that aren't normal in every house.
Mm,
Is, for example, when you pour a glass of juice, I've had to teach myself over a course of time, like, you don't have to pour it to the tip of the glass.
mm.
But growing up with 10 siblings, you're pouring your you're pouring your juice to the tip of the glass, because you don't know when you're gonna get the next. if one too many people are thirsty, that might be your last glass of lemonade, my boy.
Yeah, you joke less, you know, you don't
Yeah,
miss a
you joke
chance.
less. You don't. That's but that goes hand in hand with what we were just talking about, as not
Mm,
trying to hinder opportunities. Like when you're
that's
not
true.
maximizing, it's the
Mm,
same concept when you're not maximizing,
mm,
whether it's the juice you have in your glass
mm,
or the opportunities that you're presented with.
mm,
It's like I said, it's the same identity that I have
mm.
in all things that I do, whether for good or for different. But
That's true.
I stand in that identity and I own it.
Yeah, yeah. So then suddenly you found yourself in NFL. I'll be honest with you, I'm still struggling to know who's taking something. Yeah, I've been here for 8 years, but I don't know how that things works, to be honest. So, but tell me how you end up liking that game, and then you end up becoming a pro, and here you are. So, how did that happen?
So my mother, she had all of us, and a lot on her plate, and she wanted to get us out into sports. And the initial idea was she was going to put us all in basketball. Everybody was going to be in basketball. And at the community rec center that we were at, there were only allowing 10-year-olds to play basketball, and I was the youngest in my family, and I was only 9 years old. So when she took us all to go sign up, um, everybody got to be signed up except for me, because I was only 9 years old. So she drove around the rec center, and then she saw a football sign and she signed me up. And I think it was a place for me to let out a lot of energy that I really didn't know how to harness at the time. Like, there's it's youngest of 10 siblings. Um, the things that you know family go through, and just the experiences that can create. I feel like football to me started to become something that I was kind of finding myself in as the youngest of 10 siblings. You're just listening to everybody. You're saying, you know, respect your elders, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but you're the youngest on that totem pole. So through sports, I kind of became my own person, is what it is. And like, not to say my siblings, oh, they don't have good influence. They have amazing influences. They shape me as well. But sports is where I found my identity. And the more I leaned into it, the more success I had. And with the more success I had, the more I wanted it. And I just continued to try to find new ways of information to get better at the game.
Mm. Wow. So then on the field, uh, maybe I'm not going to the detail of the teams you played for, but if you don't mind, what was your first, do you call it drafting?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you start pro, and who was like the person who carried you on the shoulders? We need such a person often.
So, so in the American football, you are evaluated from the time you are about 16 years old, whether you're being evaluated by colleges or whether you're being evaluated by professional teams. And as you continue to carry on, when I went to college, my first year did really well, got hurt at the end. Second year played all right, and then transferred over. And while you're moving from school to school, all the scouts within these professional programs, they still have the database, the film. It's a very small world. So they have and they keep track of all things from the time you're a freshman in college to the time that you graduate. And after you graduate, you're then represented by a sports agent. And my agency really took care of a lot of the communication with the NFL teams. But in my process, there was a draft. And through the draft, people are picked for it's like a 2 day draft. And then immediately right after the draft, there's signings where they sign contracts. And that is where my opportunity came. So sitting there, it was actually nerve wracking. It's like you're sitting there, and as I declared for the NFL, that's when the news came out that somewhat in some shape or form, there wasn't a Rwandan in the NFL. I didn't really know it, but I knew it, but I didn't do the research on it. So I'm sitting there and I'm waiting to get drafted, and I don't get drafted. Day one goes by, day two goes by, I don't get drafted. Day three goes by, I don't get drafted. And lastly, I get a call from the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns said, um, "Are we want to come sign you. We're excited to have you over here. We want to come sign you." And that's when that's when everything changed. That's when I looked up and the BBC was writing articles on me. I looked up and I was getting articles written on me in Rwanda. I looked at my phone and I had like messages from people I've never even heard from, or I've never seen, or parts of the country I've never been to. So it was a surreal moment, like as far as emotions, going through the process of getting picked and not picked, and then getting picked again, and then the amount of emotion through family and just the entire diaspora all over the world. So it's an experience that I'll never forget, and a bunch of up and down emotions, but it was something that was definitely life changing.
Wow. So do you remember anything you did when you heard the news?
When I heard the news, I was actually with all of my family back in Illinois. I was with all of my family. We were all there having it's called a draft party. So all of my family was there, and when the phone rang, everybody just got quiet. Like everybody was super quiet. Then I got off the phone. As soon as I said it, like I got off the phone, I said, "I'm going to be a Cleveland Brown," and like, I could still think about it today. Like my mother was so happy. She's been just for her to see everything. I think that's what the biggest thing that I remember is like she was just like she was just extremely proud where she's like her son, you know, did those things. Because I used to tell her all the time, like, I'm gonna play in the NFL. I'm gonna play in the NFL. I'm gonna play professional sports. I'm gonna play Division I football, and it's all the things she has to carry. Like yeah, of course she's gonna believe me, but there's so many things she has to think about. So to be able to make that tangible for her and for her to see it, that's the biggest thing that I remember.
Wow. Yeah. So that's so wonderful. So now you are in, and we are talking about young uh, immigrants or new Americans or people who arrives in the country who are new and uh, but also who have the energy like the one you have or you had, um, and who are willing to see something like he did. So how do you connect those opportunities? Are they really available for everyone, or it's a struggle to get somewhere that people should be aware of?
I think that there's, as far as that process, it's somebody that has the energy to get into those things. Me personally, I feel like there can always be more opportunity, especially for people that need help.
Mm,
As far as like a situation like myself, someone coming from another country and falling in love with sports, um, to me there can never be enough. There can never be enough support and enough programs for individuals like that. Um, in my process, it wasn't the most conventional thing. Um, I had to go seek a lot of the training that I had wanted. Um, I had to. I felt almost as if, you know, not many people that were going through the same experiences I went through are doing the same thing that I'm doing. So it kind of felt like lonesome as far as it like expressing to somebody that, hey, yeah, I want to play in the NFL, but then it's like there's no Rwandan to ever play in the NFL. So
mm,
you kind of like discouraged.
mm,
But that goes into a lot of the things that I'm doing now and trying to create more opportunities and more programs, not just for not just for sports and like the entry of sports, but using sports as a vehicle for social and economic empowerment of underserved youth. Because the same way where I feel like there wasn't many opportunities as far as sports and like having to actually seek them as a young adult, especially as a young adult who's been displaced in some way, shape, or form. I want to focus on social and economic empowerment too, because a lot of the things, the same way I had to seek
mm,
football, same way I had to seek that training, is the same way I had to seek that coming up, and not just for displaced people, but all underserved youth, and just realizing that um, education that might slip through the cracks of a basic education are some of the things that make the biggest differences.
mm,
And
mm.
I want to do that with sports and financial literacy.
Oh, you want, yeah, so we can come back on that in terms of uh after the pitch, what you are
Mm-hmm.
trying to achieve. But back again on the game, for the young people, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, who are watching these things on TV, at the game, who are seeing those big things you put on your head, and who feel like we are interested. We want to be interested. We want to be inspired by Emmanuel, Manny, Rugamba. So, how do they have to prepare themselves? Do they need to do 100 push-ups? What do they need to do, honestly, to feel like I want to try my chance when I when I grow up?
And the first place to start, I would say, yes. I would say that's the thing with sports. It's a 1% thing every day. So it doesn't matter if you're LeBron James or just starting out. Like as far as the fundamentals, you're going to be doing the same things as the pros. Um, and I would say get involved in the community is the first thing. Community. Before there's any reps, before there's any push ups, before there's any kind of anything, you got to find the community in which that the sport that you're interested in is functioning. Because through that community, you're going to build relationships that are going to both give you opportunity in sport, but at the same time, carry you later on through life. So I would say any child, any person out here who just moved to, whether it be Canada, whether it be the United States, whether it be any place of that is unfamiliar, and you want to get involved in sports, you want to be inspired, you want to be like Emmanuel Rugamba, you want to be Emmanuel Rugamba. I'd say the first thing you do is you find community because Emmanuel Rugamba didn't do it on his own whatsoever. And without my community, I don't think I'd be able to do that. So I think that's the biggest. Absolutely, that's the biggest thing I would say is community. I'm gonna put that as well.
Yeah. Do you have some like young people that you're mentoring into maybe who are nearing to get into the game, or so how do you use your experience to help people who are almost uh, looking to get in the game?
As far as what stages? As far as like high
College,
school,
high
college.
school, college, or even professional, anyone is looking from you advice
Mhm.
or coaching or mentoring.
Well, the first thing that we try to do at Vision Forward, when you talk about that, that is the name of the nonprofit that I've put together, focused on social and economic empowerment of underserved youth. The first thing that we try to focus on is the play aspect of it,
Mm,
right? You try to, when we do these workshops, when we have these community events, when we have these informative events, the first thing that we want to do is we want to lean on the game aspect of it. Because through the sports, I think you paused a little bit. Okay, there we go. You want to focus. We want to focus initially on allowing these youth to get experiences of not only through sports, but as well as classroom workshops, bringing in educators, bringing in entrepreneurs with experiences, as well with athletic backgrounds that can share with these um, youth that are getting ready
mm,
to get to the next stage. Not only their experiences on the field, but their experiences off the field. And the same way you're going to need your mental aspect in the game of professional sports, whether you're going Division One, whether you're going to the pros, is to understand that you're not just an athlete.
mm,
And I think that goes hand in hand with performance. Because if you think that, um, it could be detrimental to your performance, where you think that if I'm not on the field, if I'm not an athlete, I have no identity. That leads to playing fragile,
mm,
playing scared. So what we're doing at Vision 4 Foundation is not only equipping them with the mental strength and skills for after sports, but
mm,
those skills and mental strength are going to be the support for them on the field, knowing that they're not just an athlete, so they can play more freely. They can actually experience things rather than hold on to everything. Because you can't hold on to anything when you're on the field. You got to have a short memory, or else you're going to miss your next play. And that's the same thing in life. If you're holding on to things, focused on opportunities that you didn't have because you might not have had them, you're going to mix the next one.
mm.
So
Wow.
that would be my biggest thing as far as getting people to the next level.
Mm. So you were also a keynote speaker. You founded something, non-profit. Um, Yet you founded a non-profit, and you're looking just to bring out the impact into the community. So what are the plans you have, maybe in the next 2, 3, 4 years, across Canada and the US or elsewhere?
I actually have that for you right here. Um, so some of our clear cut goals that we want is we are aiming to mentor 5,000 youth by year three. Um,
Mm,
we want to come together with partnerships and organizations to uh, aid in 50 plus scholarships, whether they're partial scholarships or full ride scholarships. Um, we're going to do 10 annual workshops over the next 3 years. Those are the ones that we just broke down as far as getting those youth in front of experienced athletic individuals, as far as entrepreneur aspects as well. financial literacy. Um, I know we have some authors as well, different athletes from different walks of life that have done well off the field as well. And 10 career days as far as the annual workshops. And then lastly, track growth and confidence leadership and financial literacy. So when we're talking about tracking these things, we want to create a program not just that aids in the initial community, but also to be able to track them and see how we could better their experiences for the next generation. But
mm,
ultimately creating and raising the floor for each class to bring along the other. And that would be our first 3 to 4 years as far as our goals.
mm. And by that, if all things go well, so what's next?
If all things go well, what's next? In my perfect world, in my perfect dream, um, it would say to be expanding because it would be to expand to the Rwandan diaspora. I would feel like to give back to Rwanda, to go to Rwanda and take these initiatives there, to be able to give back. Because as the first Rwandan to go to the NFL and the feedback that I get and that I've gotten and that I continue to get from continuous young people home, it's not just young people, but as well as the relationships that I built with some individuals in Rwanda, whether they be in the Ministry of Sports or whether they're part of other nonprofit organizations. Um, I just want to be able to bring my walk of life and my work of life is what I try to call it because it's what wakes me up uh, to bring that back to Rwanda in a full circle moment because the amount of change and the amount of impact that can be made is something that I think about all the time. And when you talk about what's next, I don't see myself not thinking about that in the
Mm,
near future whatsoever.
mm. Yeah, I think we are seeing more people moving to from uh, the US, Canada to the African continent. We have a case of
Mm-hmm.
uh, Ujiri Masai with the
Mm-hmm.
basketball and um, uh, investment in the youth. So by having something like the football, the American football on the continent, I think that will be something probably new or uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, a potential for the youth on that continent to dream
Mm-hmm.
about the
It
football
would.
as well.
Even with the new partnership with the new partnership with the LA Rams and Rwanda,
Mm,
um, with the tourism partnership that they did for Visit Rwanda, that in itself is I was so ecstatic to see that.
mm.
Uh,
I was
so
about
excited
to
to see
ask you about it when you saw it, when you
that.
saw Rwanda signing with the teams. How did you feel?
hmm
Mm,
I felt like I felt the same exact way that those individuals felt when they reached out to me and they saw that a Rwandan was in the NFL.
mm,
That is the same exact, to put into words, that is the same exact way I felt. And it just brings me great joy to be here to see that.
mm,
Even with my experience of going to the NFL and being the first Rwandan, even seeing that in itself, it's like
mm,
I can't help but smile. And I've got a best friend
mm,
who was actually one of the LA Rams' anchors as
mm,
far as players. He plays left tackle for the LA Rams. His name is Alaric Jackson. Uh, he is also on the advisory board of my nonprofit. Me and him have been best friends since the first day of college.
mm,
So to see all of that happening, to be speaking with AJ on year's end, That's what I call them, AJ. Talking about all the things we want to do in football, talking about all the things we want to do outside of it, all the people that we want to help, and uh, curating this knowledge.
Yeah, so we were just talking on um, the partnership that we are seeing between Rwanda and NFL and how you felt. If it was a joy to you, but also another motivation for you to keep on with your dreams to help more um, community members. So how do you translate that into actions in your future steps?
Near future steps, uh, the same way that Rwanda is making waves as far as connecting with the NFL. It excited me gratefully because my best friend that I went to college with, who's also uh, a member of my nonprofit, Alaric Jackson, is also the left tackle for the LA Rams. And me and him have talked about countless times about what we wanted to do, especially when we were in school together, we lived together, and we spoke about the differences that we wanted to make and the people that we wanted to help. And not only just Alaric, but the advisory board of my nonprofit and those members of my nonprofit are those that are whether professional athletes, change makers, or entrepreneurs that have been having really good success. And we're really excited to put all of our walks of life together to create these communities and create these events and create these initiatives that uh, give back, but not only give back, but allow youth to play and be youth at the same time, but really hone in on the things that we feel are important, which are social and economic empowerment.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's really something that I wish many people who are succeeding on some aspects of life can translate into actions to help those who are marginalized or those who are in the side or in the sidelines of this uh, walk of life. So let's talk about the profits. Is it profitable to pray as a pro athlete? I don't know. I'm just an ignorant in that side. I was honest at the beginning.
To be a pro athlete. Yes, it's very profitable to be a pro athlete. I've been very fortunate with my experience in the last 5 years of playing professionally. I've been able to take care of myself, take care of my family, acquire things for my future that ensure those things. So it's given me everything that I dreamed of uh, as a child. So the dreams that you have as a child of being a professional athlete, uh, you definitely get to live them if you're fortunate enough to make it to that level.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's a good message for our young brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are the challenges like fracture, concussions? Those are the things that I hear most around the news. So did you experience any of these or
Excuse me. When you said challenges, I couldn't hear what you said. You kind of broke up.
like on the field? I see players uh, having concussions or things like
Mm-hmm.
those. So weren't you scared sometimes for your life? Or
Uh, I definitely was. I definitely was at some point in time. But after playing for so long, I really think about it sometimes. It's wild that we run into people for a living. Uh, but there is a caution that you have to take in the game. And our coaches and those that educate the game and the game in itself has become more safe versus how it was initially when I started. And I think they've been taking great measures to keep players safe in that aspect. But there are injuries that come with the game. There are risks of being hurt. But one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give on that aspect that coaches have given me is don't be the person that slows down.
Mm,
And more often than not, that will be good advice that you can take that'll ensure that you won't be hurting as much as people expect. It's really about playing with confidence, playing with proper safety protocols, playing with proper formation, proper technique when you're tackling. So there are a lot of different ways that you can get hurt, but there are a lot of different ways that the game is safe.
mm. Wow. Yeah. So you mentioned that, uh, as I understand, you're just adding a layer of responsibilities, non-profit management, and so forth. So are you stopping the football? Are you still active? So how is the status and in terms of football and your future?
Well, I'm currently a free agent right now, and as far as like you said, the things that I have going on, the keynotes, the holding company, the nonprofit, I've in this process have met individuals that have 3 times as much that I have going on, and just like football, if you want to be the best player on the team, you walk in on the first day and you stand next to the best player. You ask the best player, what do you do after practice? What do you do before practice? What do you eat? When do you go to sleep? How much film do you watch? And I've come across these people that have done and are doing multiple great things and making change across across the entire globe. And just like football, um, I've taken their expertise, I've taken their advice, and I do feel that I can do all things all at the same time.
Mm,
So I am open to continuing my football career. I'm only 27 years old,
mm,
but like I said, there are people that do many things at the same time, and I'd like to emulate that.
mm. Are you looking for a team, or are you working on, or you prefer to continue as a free agent? Oh,
So I have an agent, Kenny Kim. Kenny Kim, he does a great job as far as sourcing opportunities for me, and that makes my job a lot easier as far as managing the company, overseeing the nonprofit, and and I'm not in it alone. I have a co-founder as well for both the nonprofit and the holding company. He's a good friend of mine. Went to high school with me. Um, went to college with me. His name is Joseph Thomas. Joseph Thomas, and he's also a four-time nominee for Miami's 18 of the Last Nine award. It's a prestigious award given to top alumni from the University of Miami, and Joseph does a great job as well. He's a hard worker, and our team we're filled with people that you know I don't have to do many things all on my own. I have people that I can advise with, and we've been doing a great job these last 8 months, and I continue to move forward in that.
hmm. Wonderful. Yeah. So let's talk about the youth and some of the challenges that I see outside here, which we all know. When it comes to things like opioid, substance use, so and you see how they can ruin or make someone's life a mess. So what have your take on that for young people who are emulating, who are looking onto you, who are looking at professional athletes? What's your take on that and advice?
You can't burn the candle at both ends. I feel like if you're burning the candle at both ends, it's you're asking for things to go wrong, and you should surround yourself with people. One thing my mom says is those that you hang around are who you'll turn into. So you try to surround yourself with good people, surround yourself with that council, that community that I spoke about earlier, and you just hold on to that community. And if things are tough and things are hard, then you go get help and not try to do anything alone. Because, like you said, it's something that not just youth are struggling with, but the whole world are struggling with in different parts of the world. And the biggest thing I feel is if someone's going through that, to reach out and get help, because we all need help at some point in time in whatever struggles that we have in life.
Hmm. Thank you. So you have this tour, resilience tour. Can you
Yeah,
can you tell
yeah.
me more about it?
Oh, the resilience tour is something I'm really excited about. It's really excited about. So over the last 2.5 years, last 2.5, 3 years, I've been fortunate enough to go speak at 110, 120 plus schools across, whether it's BC, British Columbia, Canada, and then I did some schools out in the Midwest when I was in Cleveland at the time, and talking about different things as far as inclusion, diversity, community, and doing the right thing when it's tough, whether in your schools, in your classrooms, at the lunch table. And with the resilience tour, what I want to do is, and what I'm doing is speaking about my journey. Because through those experiences, the 120 schools, I did share my story and I shared it briefly. And with the resilience tour, what I want to do is I want to share my story of resilience and give people and equip people with the tools that I had to learn. The same way I give back in the nonprofit with social economic empowerment. Speaking and using your voice is going to go 10 times farther than I can run on a football field. When you spoke about earlier with the children that might have questions when they just come to the country, well, where can they go if they're talking about sports? How can they be like Emmanuel Rugamba? To me, my impact and my story and my walk of life itself can bring more to somebody than if I sit down and talk to them about X's and O's, about a football play, about a football game. There's real life experiences and key things that I've held on to that I've shared with many people before and have gotten the feedback that it's something that I should do. And at this walk of my life, it's something I'm really excited about and something I've been getting a lot of feedback about. And I look forward to the people that have reached out for bookings and hirings already. And I'm excited to move forward in that as well. Because every time I use my voice, I'm not only making an impact in that room, but I can make an impact in another room. And that goes way farther than a football can go. So
Hmm.
I'm excited to do that. Just kicked that off about two and a half weeks ago, but been curating for some months. Want to get back to my alma mater, both high school and my university. I've been in speaks with some partnerships with some good people. Uh, Shout out to Kenny Glenn. Uh, look forward to working with him. He's a published author as well. He wrote the book Question Everything. And one thing about that book, my small time reading it, was that when he's equipping the youth with these things, and I'm speaking about Kenny because I'm excited to work with him. And then you're talking about the resilience tour, and he
Hmm.
resembles that. Questioning everything himself. He's a former Division I athlete, standout athlete at Miami University, broke records at Miami University, so he knows everything about resilience as well, and he knows about the impact you can make with your voice. And that's just one of the people that I'm really excited to work with. As far as the others that have reached out and hired, I look forward to working with them as well. But the resilience story, yeah, 2025 and 2026, I'm now taking bookings from the fall now into the winter. So I'm excited.
Yeah. If someone wants to reach out to you, do you want to give like an email or something uh, people can use to
Oh,
reach out
yes.
to you?
If anybody wants, you can email me at info at emmanuelrugamba.com. And our website will be up and live shortly as well for bookings. But
Yeah.
through then, until then, you can reach me through at info at emmanuelrugamba.com.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I'll make
that.
sure that I can put it uh, on this video
Mm-hmm.
link. Yeah. Wow. Any other thing you want to add on this conversation before we wrap up?
Before the wrap up, I'd just like to thank you for the time. Thank you for the time. Thank you for thinking about me and all my initiatives and the change that I want to make. Um, Lastly, like to thank my co-founder, Joseph Thomas. I appreciate you so much. Absolutely. Um, I look forward to I look forward to making a lot of change through LRT Holdings and Vision Forward Foundation.
Hmm, thank you.
Thank you.